Hi there friends, Nibs again. Out here in the garage doing a little bit of goofing around tonight and doing a little bit of tinkering, and I had bought my Crosman silhouette pistol, and that had an absolutely amazing trigger, and I was like, this looks like a 1322, 1377, 2240 type of trigger, but I took it apart and lo and behold, it has a completely different trigger mechanism than any of those other guns. So I did a little bit of research, and lo and behold, Crosman does actually sell this entire trigger mechanism as a drop-in replacement part, and it will fit on any 1322, 1377, 2240, or any of the other myriad of air guns that actually have that type of grip frame. And it's a very, very crisp and light trigger. My 1701P, the silhouette, had a 9-ounce trigger right out of the box. I've never even touched it, and it was 9 ounces, just fabulous, crisp, nice clean break. So I did some research and I found out what the part number was, and I got 2 of them ordered up. Thank you, Henry Ford. I'm not gonna go into what he got them for me for, but I'm really appreciative of that relationship that I have with him, that I can get some stuff like this and not have to spend an arm and a leg. I did find these available on several websites, and they're running around $70 retail. That's as far as I'm going to go with that. So, but what we are going to do, so I was actually getting ahead of myself, but so I am going to start out by putting one of these on my Buckrail 1322 build that I have. Absolutely fun gun. It was 1322 is a fun gun just to shoot as a pistol, but it is so much nicer, so much such a better piece with all of this stuff on it. The suppressor makes a huge difference. You can shoot this in the garage and nobody knows you're even out here. Got the foldable stock, so if I do want to shoot it as a pistol still, it really works well. I do have the 9-shot grav mag on here. I did upgrade to a metal. I'm telling you a falsehood. This is actually still the plastic receiver, and I have the grav mag 5-shot unit for plastic receivers. I did the metal receiver on my 2240 build. So let's go ahead and just play around here before we start. I did do a little bit of work on this trigger, so it's not terrible, and it's not as heavy as it was. Those are pretty atrocious triggers right out of the box, but this one has been tinkered on a little bit by me already, so I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere in the 2-pound range, if I remember right. So let me see here. I've got pellets in there. I don't want to load a pellet, so we'll just open that grav mag up and let them spill out. We'll put those back in later. But let's go ahead and don't need to pump it. These don't put pressure on the trigger with any pumps. So there you go. That is 2 pounds 8 ounces. Let's do it. A couple more and we'll take an average. Alright, that one was 1 pound 14 ounces. So it looks like we are right around, averaging right around a 2-pounder. We'll do one more and then do an average. Alright, so 2 pounds 5.7 ounces for an average of 2 pounds 4 ounces. So that is right around where I said. All right, so now these are a super easy thing to swap out, but some people like my how-to videos, so we'll go ahead and show you how to do it. So first thing you want to do is take your grips off. These are the buck rail grips. Really like those. So I did swap the spring on this one with a lighter spring from just a kit that I found, a assortment of springs. If I remember right, the trigger pull on this one was somewhere in the 4 to 5 pound range when I first got it, and yeah, that's not great. Especially if you're trying to shoot this as a pistol, that really makes life difficult. So now there's 2 screws to get this grip frame off, and you want to be careful when you're doing this. You have this in a place where, because there is in this one, if you look right, stand by. If you look right here, there is a spring, and they actually kind of retain that in there with a little dab of grease, which is pretty cool. But we want to go ahead. I know that this one does not have that dab of grease, so there's actually 2 screws, one here and one in the back. The one in the back is a real pain to get out with a regular screwdriver, but I have a special little tool we use to get that one out. But just a regular, either a square drive or a flat blade screwdriver up front. Here, we'll get this front one out. Set that off to the side. So now I have this little ratcheting screwdriver. This was actually sent to me by one of my viewers, and you guys, you know who you are. So we'll go ahead and the way that they made this screw be shielded by the grip frame really is kind of perplexing. As Shane Bruce over at Resto Ma Daisy likes to say, this is one of those fiddly bits. So now once you get it loose, you can actually get in there with a screwdriver and kind of work it out of there. Let me see if I got a smaller one here. I can. All right, that got it loose. So it did. So there's the spring. I'll set that over here. The ball is actually still in there with the, I'll set that aside and we'll save that for down the road. You know, I might have a gun that I buy later that has, you know, a broken grip frame, or who knows what, you know, what you might come across. But so now we want to really easily take this 1701 grip frame and place it back in place. It wasn't letting me line it up with the bolt sitting flush, so I had to pull the bolt back just a little bit to allow. So let me get putting the rear screw back in, getting that to start without cross threading can be a challenge. I can get the front one in there and get that somewhat cinched down. It'll help hold things in place. You don't want to fully tighten it, because then you might run the risk of, it's pretty good, it's balancing on the red dot right now. So now you flip this around to go in. like I said, fiddly bits. It doesn't want to start. Alrighty friends, I am back, and it's obviously not the same day. Had a little bit of a flame out, but it was a really good learning experience. So I'll take you guys along on what I found here in installing this grip frame into the gun. Where I left off on previously was I could not get that rear screw to start in the back, and the reason why was this trigger actually, so the old trigger, let's back up to the old trigger first. The sear for that one just pushes down. There's nothing stopping that, and just the trigger just pulls that down, and that's how it releases. So it's a direct. With the new one, because it's a three stage, it's a the sear will not push down unless you pull the trigger in, and then the sear will push down. So that sear was actually holding the thing tipped up away from the receiver tube, and so the screw was not long enough to reach down there. So to actually get this to sit flat against the receiver tube while you're pushing that on there, you have to actually pull the trigger down so that the sear will drop down and allow this piece to sit flush against the receiver tube. So that was lesson one. Lesson two was, once I did actually get that down on there, and I'll put some pictures up here of the piece, the hammer inside here that you actually pull back and this compresses the spring. In this gun, I don't know if it's like that. Maybe in the 2240 we'll have to get into that too, but it's definitely not like that in the 1701. But it actually has, it's not a straight cylinder. It has a little notch cut out of it, and then the sear is supposed to catch on the end of the cylinder. But with this one, once I had it so that the cylinder was dropped, when that notch would fall over the sear, it was letting the sear pop up, and I couldn't pull it back to do a full cock. So it would not work. So what I did, and some of you guys might cringe at this, but JB Weld to the rescue. There's the card from when I mixed it. But what I did was, and here's a picture of the unit afterwards after I filled it in, but I filled in that little crack in there, the little, I saw no reason for that to need to be there. And you know, fair warning, I've had this all together and it works fantastic, but we're going to go through and show you how to get it all together. And another thing I did was I went to the store and actually bought some. These are just 8/32. I got stainless screws. I don't think you need to get stainless screws. I actually bought a couple different kinds, and actually I went with the cap head screw, and I think I'm going to replace the front screw as well with the second one. There's actually two in the pack, so 8/32 by 3/8 of an inch. Might be just a smidge long compared for what they call for in the rear screw, but I've had it in there and it works fine. So the one that they call for in the 1701 anyway is a 0.312, which equates out to a 5/16, which is just 1/16 less than 3/8, and I don't think that's going to make that big of a difference. Like I said, I've already had it together and it works good. So let's press forward here. So the which, like I was saying before, when you put this on here, you can see it's rocking on the sear. You actually want to pull the trigger, and that's going to let that, now it drops down and it's not rocking there anymore. So I am going, like I said, I'm going to use the Allen head cap screw in the front and in the rear. So I'm going to put the front one in first. The front one is actually longer, so this size should be perfect for that. So now that's nice, and I can actually cock it and fire it, but without putting the rear one in there. But we'll get the rear one in there now. I will do a separate video down the road on how to adjust this trigger. There's actually 3 separate adjustments in there. It's pretty intricate, so I didn't want to make this video any longer than it needed to be. But now I am putting the rear screw down in there, and I like the socket head ones, the Allen head ones, because I have these ball end Allen wrenches that actually allow it to swivel out of the way a little bit, so you can actually get in there and turn it like a screwdriver. But this is a really nice upgrade for this. Almost there. There we go. Okay, so now we are in there. Let's just test our trigger functionality. So if you recall before, we were sitting right around 2 pounds with the old trigger mechanism in there, and but it was very creepy. Had a lot of movement and grit, and I just wasn't real happy with the way it was working. So, but let's go ahead and get our, come on, our buck rail grips back on here. Very nice. Appreciate all that Terry does for the channel. I'm sure he appreciates all the publicity too. You guys have been buying a lot of stuff using my product code, or my affiliate link, or whatever you want to call it, and you know, helps out a lot, helps my channel out a lot, helps Terry out a lot. He makes great products. He's a great guy. I talk to him on the phone often now. Mostly a lot of texting back and forth, but I do talk to him on the phone often as well. So now we got a Allen head cap screw up front here, one in the back. So much nicer than these. These are, I don't know where they came up with those, but those are really garbage. But now we've got that in there. Let's get our Lyman trigger pull gauge out. And I did clean up the bench a little bit, and I didn't finish up. This is quite an upgrade. I don't know how much of a we'll be able to notice, with this gun here as far as accuracy goes, but it feels really nice. So let's go ahead and all right, so we are, first pull, we are sitting at 12 ounces, 12.9 ounces. Let's do a couple of pulls and do an average. All right, that one was 10.3. And 12.8, which gives us an average of 12 point, is that right? 12.9, I guess. So anyway, 12 ounce trigger and a 1322, and you couldn't go much lighter than what I had that original 1322 trigger set for, because the sear engagement is relying on the spring right here to push up and engage the hammer when you push it back, and that spring is what actually determines the weight of the trigger. So there was really, you couldn't go much lighter than that, or else your sear, I actually had a couple times where this sear wouldn't engage even with this light of a spring, and giving us a 2-pound trigger. So now this one, the trigger feel is not in any way affected by the weight of the sear spring. So when you cock that, it's a pretty stiff spring actually going up against the hammer. It's still about like that one, but it's a pretty stiff spring compared to that one. But it's just, there's no movement at all, and it just breaks. So let me, I'm gonna set up my camera downrange. We'll do a couple of plinkers with it, and we'll get out of here. I know this ended up being another long video, another long how-to, but I hope you guys think it was worthwhile, so stand by. Alrighty, so I am back. Just got a couple cans, a couple of little silhouettes set up down there. Let's just go ahead and take a couple shots before we wrap this guy up. Really liking this Pinty red dot. It's a little bigger than some of those others, but I think it looks pretty good on this gun, so I think it may have found its permanent home. Really inexpensive red dot, but really, I think it really brings out the accuracy in this gun. So like these grav mags, I wish, well, I don't know, five pumps or 5 shots in this guy is, I think, plenty enough. But let's go ahead and I'm just using some these are H&N Excite Plinkings. I forgot exactly what I had there. All right, let's go for that can on the right, or left, I mean. Oh, I hit it, went right through it. It's going right through the can. All right, let's see if we can hit Mr. Pig. So this gun has got some pretty good power to it. That buck rail suppressor on the front there really kind of hides the fact that this thing's shooting with some pretty good power. That is a nice trigger. These grip frames for the 1701 are not an inexpensive upgrade, but they retail for about 70 bucks with a fully outfitted grip frame. Let me see if I can knock that one on the left down, or the can on the right, I mean. I hit it again. All right. Last pellet, and then we'll get out of here. Knock over Mr. Ram. It's one way to knock the cans over. So anyway, that is we'll play around. We'll get this thing on a bag outside and actually see what kind of accuracy we can squeeze out of this thing. It's been a great, fun build. Just this one more upgrade to it. It's really nice. I still like the so I like having a red dot on there because I can set this thing up as a pistol and still shoot it like a pistol with that red dot, and that really is a lot of fun as well. And I think that really nice trigger will show up a lot better in my pistol shooting, because when I'm trying to steady the gun and trying to squeeze a heavy gritty trigger, that really throws your accuracy off a lot. So but anyway, hope you guys liked the video. Make sure you check out all the links down below for Amazon and Buck Rail and Vevor. all taking good care of the channel, and I really appreciate that. Till next time, have a great day.